You go.
After such a game, we are a little bit lost for words. I think both of us, but it was. You know what? In the first half, I was getting so nervous for some reason. I was sweating buckets. I would say I wasn't sure that it was going to be our night, but I just when we play football like this, I keep saying this. This will always transcend any finishing slumps, any referee decisions, any kind of dark magic that people and teams want to throw at us. This team can withstand everything when we play like this because this is what football, or Barcelona football, is all about. Because the amount of chances, the number of chances that we generate, the football that we generate is just overwhelming for teams. So a nervy first half, Dev, but it was a cracker of a game again. Um, what's your take?
Yeah, I cannot agree more, man. But more than that, I think, yeah, we changed, created chances, and maybe probably would have scored another 4 5 goals, whatever. But I think it was just the entire domination. I mean, uh, like lately, Girona has been good the last few years. They haven't been minnows, so as to say, and we have had our issues with them. I wouldn't say they have thoroughly outplayed us or anything, but
No way.
it has never been like this, like today, with a depleted
Mhm.
squad to a
Mhm.
large extent, and a lot of rotation and so on and so forth. Obviously, Flick managed his team. He gave Lever and others time in the second half, but uh, I mean, I don't recall Girona even threatening once. Even the game, the goal
No.
that I got from Danjuma, that was like it happened. Okay, fine, and credit where it's due, but I mean, they were just not in the game anywhere, and it's not that big. They it was because of they didn't want to be. They obviously were playing, but they just didn't get a chance
Mhm.
to just establish any kind of presence or superiority throughout the game for about 90 minutes, and that just shows the just caliber at which this Barca is
Yeah.
playing.
Yeah, absolutely. I think we're kind of running out of superlatives at this point, and we still have like 8 or 9 games to go in La Liga. Just a couple of stats here that I found really interesting. So Chesney with Barcelona, 18 games, 9 clean
Or
sheets,
almost
zero defeats. So how crazy is that? 18 games, 9 clean sheets, and zero defeats, Chesney. Then another ridiculous stat: Barca under Hansi Flick this season, 7 goals in the match 2 times, 6 goals in a match 2 times again, 5 goals in a match 11 times, and 4 goals in a single game 20 times.
that is insane.
Tw-
That
20.
20 times is insane. Just insane. Um, it's
It is insane. I don't know. It was. I saw that the data and was like, that cannot be right. And then on top of that, you have Lewandowski, who's playing in his finished season, who's playing in a season where everyone, including us, gets frustrated because he does
we have to
dumb
talk
stuff
about
on the
Lewandowski
pitch.
today.
Yeah,
We have
yeah,
to.
we will talk about him. And then he becomes the first player from Europe's top 5 leagues to reach 40 goals in all competitions this season for club and country. At 36 years old, playing in a season that we are, or most people are saying, is his one of his worst because he is doing dumb things on the pitch. But that guy is still scoring goals. 40 goals at 36 years of
Insane.
age.
I mean, we don't
Yeah.
give him enough credit. We criticize him all the time, but and we say that we will replace him, but I don't see a single striker in the market who can do what he is doing, even with his
Mm.
frustration and everything else that comes with him,
Mhm.
and we criticize for him. Every
Mhm.
it's just I just don't see another striker who can give that to us consistently week
Yeah.
in week
Yeah.
out. So the whole point of uh, you know going for a striker, I understand the logic, but how do you bench him in this
Mhm.
form? It's just a question. So
Yeah, it's a tough one because, yeah, as you said, on the market, at least within our range, no one comes in and replaces Lewandowski. No one comes in and gives you this output, regardless of their youth and their potential or not. Because most of the targets that we are linked to are players with potential, but players that would not be Lewandowski the first season, and maybe not even the second season, right? Maybe ever. Who knows? Because this guy is he is insane for all his faults, and there are obviously there are many. He's not perfect, but this caliber of striker is what we call generational, right? So I think we do have to put respect on his name, and yes, we do
His finishing
criticize
is
him a lot.
insane. Even the two
Yeah,
goals today, he's just like the first
yeah,
goal was what 10%, and he scored it from there. And the second goal was also like something like that. And his finishing is just insane. Like he's instinctive. Even now, you get him
hmm
in position, and at the end, I mean, he could have got even a couple of more goals, but I mean,
yeah,
ball didn't pass to him, or Lamine did not pass to him. If this was Messi, where the whole team played for Messi and played passed every single ball to him, Leva would have got another 10 goals easy, easy,
yeah.
another
Mhm.
10 more this season, because this team doesn't function like that. So it's just insane what he has done this season, and the number of goals that we have got from him consistently throughout. And there's no question, like, I mean, I don't see, I think next season he's the one who's still going in. Like, hopefully he'll maintain some of this, but
Yeah,
it's hard to put him out when he is delivering like this on the
yeah.
pitch.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, we keep calling, or we kept calling for, just sub him off and rotate him, but there's no, there's no reason for that, right? As long as he's scoring goals, we have to be happy with that because that should be his primary goal, and that should be our primary way to assess Lewandowski, right? And I think the team as a whole, in general, this whole squad, the whole structure should be enough, even without Lewandowski's contribution on the ball and Lewandowski's contribution to build up and control. We should still be able to do this what we've done to the Girona, to most teams in La Liga. So without Lewandowski being this link up machine or this highly technical first touch superior player, we should still be able to do this domination, this game state that we can bend to our will. This is what we can do even without a striker who can be ever present in all the phases, right? So if Lewandowski is inside such a structure, such a team that we have around him, full of technical monsters and players who just bend everything to their will, then all he has to do is be there in the box at the right time, and then score goals. That's it. And I think he can do that. Now, can he do that next season? We don't know what we don't know, right, Dev? Because we don't know. He's 36. Next year, 37. We don't know how his body will react. We don't know what will happen to him mentally, physically. It's a big question mark, right? But these instincts, I don't think they just disappear from a player. So that's the silver
He's
lining. So if
very,
he if
very. He's so conscious about his physicality, his
and
body.
yeah, that's true.
He's so very professional about it. So hopefully that helps him. As we go into next season. But what a season he has been having. And today, I mean, obviously the game belongs to him, and he was the deserved the man of the match, and so on and so
Yeah,
forth. Anyway,
yeah,
let's take some questions, and then we'll move on to analyze the game further. We all have a great sub in Ferran and professional performance. They're absolutely professional. They just didn't let Girona get a sniff anywhere. And Ferran keeps scoring, and Ferran keeps delivering these results. I think now, what, 23 goals, club and country
I think
this
so.
season. That's an insane season from Ferran Torres. And I don't know what his market valuation is going to be when the summer window comes. Like this whole team, the valuation is going to go up so high after
hmm
the season ends. That will be interesting to see what his valuation is like. And I don't think he's going anywhere. I think he's going to stay into next season as well and continue down this path that he has been doing. But Dom, your thoughts?
Yeah, I think so. I think he stays. There is, as you said, the evolution of players, especially if we win things, will go up. So there might be some tempting offers there, and I don't know. Ferran is just a grateful player to have in the squad because he's happy being on the bench. He's happy proving you wrong. If you put him on the bench too much, he will prove you wrong on the pitch, and he will try to prove you wrong anyway. So I think in that regard, he's a player that you want to have. You want to have these kinds of players that are so grateful, that are performing when they call upon. And I think even a couple of years back, you could see hints of this player already because we kept saying he has great fundamentals. He understands where he has to be. He moves well. He has great ball striking, or at least good enough ball striking, or back then. So that should always result in goals eventually. It just wasn't to be for Ferran for years, right? And now it seems to be clicking a bit more in the Flick because the whole team is kind of empowered by Flick's style. This is, yeah, I mean, this is Flick's fingertips all over the squad because he wants to have this. And we did say, okay, yes, if Flick comes in, he will enforce this heavy metal attacking style of play, but no one could have really predicted it to be to such an extent that it is now, because this is insane. It's really ridiculous. And yeah, Van Lee, Lamine playing in full 90s. We discussed this last time. We don't really have a proper answer for you because we don't know what's happening backstage. We don't know if Lamine insists on playing. We don't know if it's Flick's idea of keeping him sharp and keeping him maturing. I don't know. To be fair, last time someone in the comments mentioned that Lamine does spend quite a lot of time walking.
Walking.
So he does preserve energy that way. I think that's a fair point. That doesn't mean that he's lazy out of position, not by any means. He's a great defender. He does press. He does contribute defensively as well at times, but he knows when and how to preserve energy. So that would be my silver lining in this whole conversation. But yes, as a whole, I think there are moments when you can actually say, okay, now you rest a bit. But we'll see. I don't know, Dev.
No, I agree with you. I don't know what the reason is. Was he needed today in minute 90? Probably not. Could
Yeah.
Flick have subbed him off 20 minutes ago? Probably yes. And in this and probably there's the same case in every game. But for some reason he plays till the end. And he plays for a club and he plays for a country. Now, whether that's part of some contractual thing that Jorge Mendes has or something, we don't know. We just don't know. And
Yeah.
what we don't know, we can't conjecture. But obviously, there's a reason why he's consistently playing, even though all common sense and logic would assume that he shouldn't be playing this much. So, no idea. But I think there's more to it than meets the eye. For what we are seeing on pitch. All right. Okay.
Yeah.
Isaac says, I think the goal we considered is due to Araujo's poor decision making. Maybe, but you know what? Mistakes will happen. We will concede goals.
Yeah.
It's okay. I think overall, Araujo played a very solid game today. I don't think that game, a pretty good game. They hardly got a chance. And I think, some people can say that, yes, he didn't spring the offside trap and he got the ball, but it was a goal out of nowhere. Like literally, it was a goal out of nowhere. There was hardly anything. We conceded, but I won't give him too much of a hard time for this. I think it was spectacular. I think he played well today.
Yeah, I don't think it's not a big deal. I mean, if had the game ended 1-1, then yes, people would have a very different opinion probably. But we were leaps and bounds ahead of or above Girona. That is that. It just I was nervous. I'm not gonna lie. I was very nervous at 0-0, and I was nervous at 1-1 as well. But when you look at it objectively, we were so good. We dominated so much. We controlled the game so much. Everything was in our favor that the goals just had to come. Right? There's no guarantees in football, but the goal just had to come. So this should not be a surprise. And I think Araujo. I mean, the only way Girona could theoretically hurt you is on set pieces because they are good in the air. They are very good in the air, and they could pose some sort of transitional threat. Those are the only two ways they could have hurt us today, and I think Araujo helps in both those cases. So if Girona are going to have a chance from either of those scenarios, Araujo is the man to try and stop that, and would have a good chance of stopping that. So I think in that sense, he wasn't out of place in this game. There was a place for him. Yes, we had to drop Pedri a bit deeper, sometimes even between the centre backs to help the progression. And not all of Araujo's passes were pinpoint as normally they are not. But I think overall, you can't blame him for much or anything at all. I don't think.
I think it's not again.
Yeah. So
We can see that one. It's okay, but I mean, that way, if we were to nitpick, I mean, there's so many people who made so many mistakes, and somewhere,
Yeah.
I think we have criticized him when when it was obvious. But I think
Yes. Yeah.
overall, he had an okay game. And yes, there was a goal, but it's all right. Goals will happen. Let's talk about FDJ. Yes, we've been talking about FDJ. The whole of Barcelona fan base has been talking about FDJ, and he has been playing really good football lately. Football which helps the team, fits with Flick's philosophy, and so on. And I think he's going from strength to strength. And at this rate, I think he's probably going to again, what's the word? Sign another contract with us and stay, especially if you win, silverware. So if that happens, I think we're going to see FDJ for a few more years. Is basically what this means. But yes, without a doubt, second half of the season completely become the engine of the team, and is pretty much delivering what we expected him to deliver when he came, right? But it
Hmm.
took this many number of years and a different coach, a different playing style for him to really find his, so as to say, wings or what have you.
Yeah, that's very true. I mean, we've been waiting for this moment for years, you could say. But at the same time, Dev, I think, especially us here on Barca Football Guys, I think we were very vocal about Frankie's quality and how we see him. Even when he was all Casado and no Frankie, we were saying, okay, but Frankie's a better player. And I do have to give props to us and our long form videos and pieces and tweets and live streams. We have been very vocal about Frankie, supporting Frankie, and this is just a player that he is, right? That he can be. Now, let's hope that this is the new standard for him. That this is not a purple patch. This is just the way that he was going to be at Barca. Because having this Frankie next to Pedri and then whoever the third midfielder is in this Barca side, it feels like a cheat code, right? It feels like no one can touch them because that's
Yep.
the truth. Look at the
The
goal
solid
tonight.
midfield
Yeah,
that we
it's a very 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 good. Yes, because and yes, we kept saying that even on paper that midfield is elite, even it used to be elite, but it was not complete because it was missing some sort of a presence to fill that their individual flaws. But since then, the system has evolved a lot. The system now plays more in line with the profiles that we have because it plays more through the midfielders, the number one. And then defensively, it tries to shrink the pitch as much as humanly possible to mask the flaws of these small space defenders that we have. Obviously, Frenkie is not a small space defender; he is one of the big space defenders that we have. But still, every player will always prefer to defend the small space than the big space. So that's why we're seeing this. And tonight, pressing was also very very good, and that was with Lewandowski on the pitch. I mean, we did have Gavi, which helps obviously. We did have Gerard Martin as well, who is also a bit more geared defensively, I would say. So I think as a whole, that part of the game was also very good. At the same time, I do have to say, not to spoil anything and not to rain on our parade, but I think Girona are not really the benchmark because they are decent, but they were just not in this game at all, right? They were just not with their full strength squad either. Obviously, Romeo was not playing, so that's a massive miss, right? So there are these asterisks next to this win. We played fantastically, but this is not the team that we should be referencing, in the long term at least. But yeah, that's what I would kind of say at this point.
Yeah,
But
I would agree. I would agree.
um,
Like, they were just not at the races today.
yeah,
And Barca played. I mean, there's nothing called a flawless game or a near perfect game, but this was as good as it gets from a
yeah,
team structure point of view, especially given where they are and the
yeah,
rotations and everything else. I think we couldn't have asked for a better game,
hmm
and throughout the game, throughout the 90 minutes. Anyway, let's keep going. 4 goals, 20 times is insane. The 40-year-old striker has already, yeah, we talked about it. And then, yes, it's absolutely insane. Let's
hmm
enjoy this as much as we can, but because it's not going to happen every season, that's the truth. We never expected it to happen this season, and it's happening.
yeah,
So we should absolutely enjoy it to the hilt. And
yeah, yeah,
um, I don't think we're going to see this again and again. And yeah, it's a miracle that we have this is happening with Lamine on one side and Leva on other. But I mean, sooner or later we'll have to talk about, is Leva a Barca legend or not? Like, yeah, it's true, man. I mean, if you look at the number of goals, he's probably scored
yeah,
more than many
yeah,
of
more
the
many.
greats. Definitely more than Ronaldinho, more than a lot of other greats, so-called greats. So sooner or later we'll have to have that conversation. But yeah, it's insane. These numbers
Yeah,
are incredible, and the season has not yet finished. I mean, there are a lot of
yeah,
games still left, and I don't know where we'll finish, but this is absolutely going to be among the top seasons that Barca has had in the last, I don't know, 15, 20 years, probably, including those golden years with that golden team and what have you. But I think what Flick's been able to do with this team, with relatively unknown players, so as to say,
yeah.
and academy
hmm
players, deserves an absolute insane credit from the fan base and people like us who've been watching Barca for years. Okay.
It's true. It's true.
Our left flank is dead without Balde. Yeah, we've been talking about Balde, and I think Dom did a phenomenal piece on him a few days back, and we have a video coming out on him as well, where we have analyzed Balde and what he brings to the table. And today also, I think there were a couple of chances where I think he could have scored a goal, and the day
Yeah.
he adds that to his arsenal, he's going to be absolutely even more devastating. But he's been playing amazing. Um, Without him, the question is obviously yes. If he's not playing, then do we have suitable alternatives? Probably don't. But that's okay, I guess. Like how many, world-beating left backs will be
Mhm.
carried in one team? It's not going to happen. So whoever comes in is going to be a squad player or a bench player, and you'll probably not get the same quality anyways. But Dom, what's your thought? Like, does that position need coverage now with an elite player or a
I
significant
don't know.
spending on it?
I don't think so. No, I just said if you go for another left back, it would probably be, as I said, a rotational piece. But then Jerry Martin has been quite decent in this rotational piece because sometimes you need different profiles.
Pretty much.
Sure, he's not Balde. He's probably never going to be Balde, or that
We need
level
that.
of
We don't
quality.
need
Yeah,
that. I mean, he played
but
today. He was quite good, actually.
yeah, it was
He did his
yeah,
job.
yeah, he did the job. I think the point stands from Ichigo. Left flank was a bit, underwhelming. It was all about the right flank. Lamine and Kunde were carrying the whole game because almost every attack was coming from the right side, right? And there was a reason for that because we just didn't have. If you play with four midfielders, then obviously the fourth midfielder is the winger who cuts in and then he leaves that flank. He's not really a winger. And then Jared Martin is more tucked in. He's more of a deeper presence, just shielding the in possession structure. So I think it was as expected, I would say. But yes, exactly, he's a different profile and suited for a different role and different task on the pitch, which is absolutely fine. He should not be shoehorned into the Balde role. He should not be forced to do what Balde is doing because he can't do that, and that would just be misprofiling him entirely. One option is to bring, if we're going to bring a right back, for example, like Vanderson. He's a good example because he can play a left back as well. So in times of need, you have a player who covers two positions, who's normally a right back, but then if you really need to rest Balde, for example, and replace him with a quality player, then you can put someone like Wanderson on the left side as well. So picks like that are very valuable, and I think we might see Barca go for such a pick, right, where you have versatility in profile, and then you don't lose as much quality, even if you play those players out of their natural position because they are equally or almost as good in other positions as well. So I think that would be one way to look at it. So buy a player who's primarily a different position but can cover relatively well as a rotational piece on the other side as well. So that would be my take, but not an elite signing. I don't think that will happen
Yeah, I think
from
so
the left
too.
field.
Like, I mean, you can't create like that way. We'll have to buy like amazing elite players, two of them in every position, and just it just won't happen. So I think with what we have, we're good with the backup that Flick has created. I mean, the system's working. So until I just don't think the club's going to spend that much
Hmm.
on this until it becomes a problem, given all the other problems that they have. I'm on the Frankie De Jong bandwagon. I think not just you, a lot of people are on the bandwagon right now, and may it long continue. Hopefully till the end of the season because we want to win some trophies. And if he have to do that, then he has to keep playing like this. So hopefully that
Yeah,
continues,
yeah,
Manly. And once the season ends, then we can have more discussions about, next season and what role does he play and whether he's among the elite and the greats and there's so many discussions around Barcelona
yeah,
and midfield, like, and where does he belong in the pantheon of Barcelona midfielders, whatever. So, but for now, we need him. He's amazing. He's doing great, and he continues to deliver in every game. And hopefully, he does till the end of the season because that'll help us so much in
yeah.
our quest for silverware this season. All right, next move to the next one. Frankie's ball carrying is elite. He just breaks lines for fun when he's fit. Levy's second goal was on Frankie. Yes, it was. Also, his finishing was incredibly good. But that said, his ball carrying is good, and we know that, and he loves to run with the ball, and that's the
Yeah.
thing. Like Flick's system allows him to do that. I think Xavi first season after the half season, we saw similar performances for Frankie because the system allowed him to play like that. But then he was injured, and that obviously had an impact. And the rest of the coaches never really could create a system where Frankie could play like this. As simple as that.
Yeah.
It needed a lot of things to happen and a lot of people to leave Barcelona for the system to become what it is right now. And it is in this system that he is thriving. And it fits him. It fits his normal skills, and that's what we are seeing right now. Dom?
Yeah, I think on paper it was always going to be. We kept saying, okay, on paper Frankie really fits the ideas that Flick brings to the table as well. But then I think more than his ball carrying, which we know that's what he does. We know that's elite. We know that it breaks lines, it breaks structures for fun. Yes, it's very true. But I think nowadays what we're seeing is a different Frankie that's actually passing the ball more like a Barca player. I think he still wants the ball at his feet for a long time because just that kind of player. But in general, he's much quicker with his distribution. He's also playing passes that are very incisive, that are very, it can be creative, but it can also be just just with control and retention in mind as well. So I think from that perspective, he has changed, he has evolved a bit to suit the system a bit more and slot next to Pedri, and be this force in midfield that we need him to be. So yes, long may continue. As I said, hopefully it's a new benchmark, not just a purple patch. So we'll see.
Yep, and extension of Isaac's point, I think yes, a lot of people got attacked, and he got attacked because of his playing
Yeah.
and not living up to expectation and his wages and so on and so forth. But as I mean, at least here we have never picked up the wage thing because the wage is the wage. I mean, he didn't force anybody to give him the wage. The
Yeah.
club and him decided on that wage, so it's okay. It's between them, and if he's earning, good for him, man. I would like to earn that wage. If I if I had it, I wouldn't want to let go of it. I don't think either of you would have wanted to let go of it. So, question on wages is something that I don't know doesn't. I mean, who are we to comment on that? Like that's nobody. He didn't force anybody to give it to him, right? They had a
Mm.
fair and square conversation, and Barcelona decided that this was his wage, and they decided to give him that. And once
Yep.
they have done that, that's between them. Like, so I don't know. I never understand that attack. But yeah, when he hasn't delivered, of course, when he hasn't played
Yeah.
that well, of course, that will be discussed among fans, and there have been many games that he didn't play as well, and he disappointed, and obviously there was irritation and frustration. But
Yeah. Yeah.
you can see how quickly the narrative changes. I think about 3 months ago, he was still there was no clarity on whether when will Frankie play. Like he just
Mhm.
disappeared one day because he had something, and then he just doesn't appear for like 6 months or what have you. And the narrative was bad. I mean, when will he play? Will he even play? And then he makes an appearance and he doesn't play well, and he makes two or three, and then he starts playing well, and then by the seventh or eighth, people have completely changed their perception about him. So this is how fast football moves, and people's perception change about a player. So yeah, I mean, hopefully, he doesn't get injured, as we are saying, and hopefully this continues till the end of the season. 9 more games,
Mhm.
and we can probably win La Liga. And if there's any team that deserves to win La Liga this season, it's Barcelona. Not because we are fans; they truly deserve to win the league for how they have played. As simple as that. Um, so yeah, I mean, anything to add to this, Dom, before we keep moving?
Yes, I was just the extension of your answer is exactly that. I think at the moment we are leaps and bounds the best team in La Liga. Now, the best team does not always win. However, in league competitions, being the best will get you far
Consistent.
because
Yeah.
yeah, exactly, because when you have a 30 something game season, the best team over that big of a stretch should, in theory, have the best performance, the best results, right? In the Champions League, it's not like that because you have a very smaller sample and it's much more decided by moments, right, rather than a consistent performance over a period of time. So I think in La Liga we do have that on our side, and we are, by leaps and bounds, the best team in La Liga. And it would be a shame because we keep saying the development of the players and the culture and the environment that Flick has created is already a win for us. It's a massive win, but it would be such a shame if he did not,
Right.
crown this with a title or two because they really deserve it, right? As you said, they are the best team in La Liga and they're playing such good football. We as fans are so happy to watch Barca. We're excited to watch Barca. We look forward to games, almost, like they're every 3 days, and we're not getting fatigued of them because we just keep enjoying it. So from that perspective, I completely agree. But yeah, let's move on and see what
Are
other
we still
questions we
lacking a
have.
winger in our squad? Our back today was Balde instead of Ansu. To me, yes, we still do lack
Yeah,
a winger. I think so. But that said, I and Dom, and we have all discussed this many a time, not very sure who that is.
yeah,
Of the names that get talked about and the price involved and the cost involved, I don't think we'll have the money to go for them, or we should go for them given our financial situation. That said, are there like some of those efficient players whom we don't really know but are under the radar, but you sign them and suddenly you see that wow, they're amazing, right?
mhm,
And Liverpool does it very well. There are some teams who get this perfectly right, the scouting and the bringing. I don't know who that player is at this moment, but do we need one for sure? Ansu, I don't
Yeah.
know whether Ansu is going to play again, given what we have seen, and that's a sad. But let's not digress here. But Dom, you're the analyst, right? Who's the winger, or do we even need a winger?
I think we do. I think we do. And yes, we saw Balde tonight today as a winger. That's another experiment that we should maybe discuss at one point because there are some things that he would do well as a winger. That said, do think that having a left winger of sufficient quality, someone who can actually complement Balde, would be great. Now the question remains: is a striker bigger priority? Is a winger more of a priority? That's for the club to decide. We can analyze the choices, and we will analyze several left wingers that we are currently linked to, and we'll see how well they fit. It's always it's very much the same names. I think still it's Nico, it's Leao, it's Diaz, it's who else? Lookman. So
Look,
we have those four at the moment. Um, for looking at the price and the quality that you get, I think Nico is still the most optimal option. Now, is he is he the preferred option that Barca will actually go for? I think if you go for Nico, he's also a project kind of player. He's very good at the
is
moment,
Nico
but
a
he's not.
starter? Dom, like I mean, if Nico's coming, he's going to come as a starter. But can he be a starter in this team? That's the question.
Like, yeah, over Rafinha is very difficult, right? The current Rafinha should not be benched. That's also the thing. But then if you do bring a left winger, I don't think they're going to go for a rotational piece. That's the problem. So among those names, okay, I can see Nico. Maybe he would be fine being a squad player who gets to start occasionally, but not all the times. Maybe he would be fine with that. I think Lookman would potentially be fine with that, but Diaz and Leao would not be fine with that, right? So that's also a very important type of context to discuss here because are we are we signing a starter or are we signing a rotational piece to relieve Rafinha but still give you quality when that player does come in and play? So it's a big question to answer for Barcelona. It's the same thing for the striker position because if Lewandowski is staying, he's not going to get benched, right? He's going to play. So you can't sign an elite striker who's going to cost you $100 million and then put him on the bench. And yeah, so that doesn't happen. So do you go for two project signings, and then both of those project signings are bench players? Now that could be an option. Would be less pricey option as well, but it would also mean that you're not injecting instant quality into this team. Now, do we need instant quality? Hmm, we have quality enough to win. We have seen this this season, but that's a decision that the hierarchy needs to make. That's a big
The question
decision.
here is like again, Van Lee, your point is the same. Like that's why I pulled this up. Like yeah, Lewis will stay. Like Diaz and Lookman, Diaz is too expensive. I don't think we should go for him. That's anybody who is 100 million. I don't think we should go for him.
Yeah. Mhm.
Now Lookman, yeah, maybe, but I don't think they're going to make it easy based on the media reports that we are seeing right now. They want to extend him. Obviously, they know his price is there in the market, so if they extend him, they're going to get more money for him. That's all.
Yeah.
So that's what the club is going to do, Atlanta. Um, but the question is, I mean, there are a lot of fans here who watch a lot of football and many of them are incredibly knowledgeable. Is there a player who we are missing, Dom, who is not in that elite level, but is a great winger, somebody who's played in La Liga or any of the leagues out there, was not yet, become famous, but can get the job done, is solid? Are there under the radar names that we have not thought about?
I, hmm, I don't know. I don't know. But the way I see
Guys,
this,
anything from you guys? Any names? You can throw it on the comments and we can pick it up, whatever.
the way I see this though is, will Barca go for such a player at this moment? Okay, so you're expecting to make a splash with a signing, so you go and find a player who's not La Masia. So we do this with La Masia boys, right? They are quote unquote nobodies, and then we bring them up and turn them into superstars. But I don't think we do this a lot, or we haven't been doing this a lot with foreign players, where you bring in someone who's not a big name, who is just brings it out of nowhere, but is somehow elite. I don't know. I don't know if Barca will go for such a move at this moment, because I think what Laporta is trying to do is he's trying to bring in the name as well up on top of the quality. Now that might be wrong because we might not have the money for that. But that is my perception at this moment. Now, are there players who are maybe of the right quality, but now with the PR? Potentially, yeah, but we have to look into that. I don't know who that
Interesting.
player would be.
An academic discussion on whether or not there are players like that or what have you. But yeah, it'll be interesting. But as but you're absolutely right. Like Laporta probably is going to wanting to get a name, and a brand name or what have you. Um, but again, I think I don't know. Are they even worth 100 million? Any of these names? But then who are we to define what? The market defines what is worth. So I don't. Yeah,
Mm,
it's just crazy. We need a winger? Yes. Do we have one who can come easily? No. And at the price that is being quoted, will it be easy for us? Probably no. But that said, stranger things have happened in football, so we're going to see what happens. Or is there a surprise name that comes out of that? All right, let's keep moving. Araujo is still not completely ready for the quick highline system. He makes mistakes, but he's still a tank. He is a tank. I don't think he'll
yeah.
ever be the inch perfect. I'll spring the trap all the time kind of a guy, but I would still have Araujo in the team any day without than not have him. As simple as that.
Hmm.
Because he gives you that old-fashioned just defensive solidity. He has a character. We need people like with character. He can lead. He is a leader. We need leaders. So overall, even if he cannot spring that trap, there are lots of people for doing that here. And the way it has happened in this season, he's not really playing every single game. Flick's rotating everything. So once in a while when he plays, I think it's his. Yeah, I would have him, and I don't think he's ever going to be that good. That's just my point.
Yeah, that's he's a different profile for different needs potentially. I think that's the way to look at it right now. Is he a player that's going to start every game? No, probably not, because at the moment Flick just trusts his preferred duo more, and that duo is more in line with the whole philosophy of the team, or at least the starting 11 that plays exactly the football that Flick wants to play. So I think from that perspective, yes. Um, I think that will remain so. But now we've seen that there is a place for Araujo in this team. It might not be as an absolute starter every game, but there is a place, there's a time, and there's a scenario in which, okay, now we need Araujo. Now Araujo's going to play. So, and I think if that's good enough for Araujo, that's good enough for us as well, because it was always up to him. Is he going to accept this role, or is he maybe even try and work his way up to this starter material that he thinks in his head that he is? And I think that's a good way for him to actually look at the situation. He has to believe that he can actually be a starter
Deliver.
in this Barca. Yeah, he has to believe in that. So I'm absolutely fine with him thinking, okay, I am this quality material, and I will prove it to you. Now that's the mentality that Ferran Torres also has, and I think he has served him very well. And from that perspective, I think yes, different profile, different situation, different scenario, but at the same time, he's someone who's now proving to Flick, okay, I am a valuable member of the squad, and we can only agree at this point.
Yep. Okay. Couple of pointers on Eric Garcia, and we should talk about him. So Baba and Isaac, they more or less have the same thing. But yeah, Eric Garcia was superb in this defensive midfield or pivot role. Yes, he has been, and he has been quite good in the defense as well. And he has also scored some important goals. So there's a lot to like about Eric Garcia this season and how Flick has utilized him after his successful cameo in Girona last season. So Tom, why don't you start, and then I'll talk about what I think.
No, he was very clean. He was actually really really good in his role tonight. I do think that the game state, so similar to Casado. So in this game state where Barca don't have to wrestle control from the other team, I think players like Casado and like Eric in this position can be more effective. They can be very effective actually, and we have seen this tonight. We have seen games like this be in Casado's favor as well. And yes, he has been very good. And Hansi Flick's whole shtick, Isaac, yes, exactly, is profile optimization and just getting the maximum out of these players by actually not shoehorning them into roles that they don't fit, but actually creating roles or putting them in roles that maximize their profiles. And now that's the whole thing about Flick, right? That's the whole secret behind Flick's success, or at least part of it is exactly in that. But back on Eric, yes, I think this game state suits him a bit more when the opposition cannot really contest you much or wrest the control from you. I think in those scenarios you can have Eric, you can have Casado, but if you're playing someone who has the quality and more tools to disrupt your preferred game state, then you have to have a Frenkie and Pedri to get back that game state that you need. So that will be my conclusion on Eric. He's been superb tonight, absolutely outstanding. I think so, but I think that also the opponent and the game state were in his favor, more in line with what he's capable of shouldering or enduring, I would say, which is no slight on him as a player, but it just that's who he is in this DM position, I think, at the moment.
Yeah, and I think the other thing that is a comment on the whole defense. Like when you think about our defense when the season started, and we thought that it was going to be okay, Christensen, Enepo, Kunde, and Araujo. That's what we
Mhm.
thought it would be. But if you look into how as the season has progressed, it has been Inigo, Kubasi, Eric Garcia. These are the names who have actually come up a lot more in more conversations this season for Barca in defense, and that just goes to show with good coaching what is possible. Right? I think none of us thought that any of these players would be giving this kind of a consistent, performance game after game, but that's what has happened. And at this level, I think even Eric Garcia looks to be staying, and not just staying as an important member of the team, as an important, valuable squad player, and not just a squad player who's used sparingly. He's being used quite regularly in the games, and he's contributing. He just finished about 100 games for Barcelona today, right? And the team felicitated him, and you could see it on the television. He was happy, all of that stuff. So I think the way Flick has found out the best of these French players, and Dom, and we did a whole series on French players, and
Yeah.
if you guys haven't seen, you should go check it out. But I think that speaks volumes for what that man is capable of when his knowledge of football, his knowledge of man management, game management, what have you. So I think that's incredible what he has done. It's not just, and somebody said, so this point on Eric, Fermin, Torre, the utilization and bringing the best out in them. I mean, everybody looks rejuvenated. Ferran Torres looks rejuvenated. Eric Garcia looks rejuvenated. Fermin Lopez now again. So all of them, the way he has used them as rotational players or players who are coming in to deliver on a particular job at a particular point of time or a particular game state, that is being spot on. And I've never seen such good utilization of subs from Barca in the last, I don't know, 15 years, probably more than that, to be entirely honest.
Yeah, yeah. The only thing that we criticized was the lack of rotation, but then whenever he rotates nowadays and whenever he makes changes in games, it's always on point and it's always with a plan in mind. So even when the rotations do happen, as rare as they can be, which is one of the things that Flick defines Flick, because he's very stubborn in the way that he sees football and the way that he wants his team to play and the team selection itself. However, whenever the changes happen, they're not just random decisions, right? They have a place and time to appear for this team. So I think from that perspective, absolutely yes, he has this knowledge on what the game or what the team needs in every situation, and I think that makes us very dangerous as a team, because we now have different tools for different teams and different situations and different game states, and our bench is no longer a hindrance. It's no longer just there. It's not just planks of wood on the bench. It's actually players who can come in and make a difference and even bring a different flavor. And sometimes that is very good to have different profiles, not like for like replacements, but different profiles who bring different tools to the game. I think with that, it makes Barca a bit more versatile, makes them more dangerous as a whole, and expands their arsenal, I would say. So I'm very happy with that development. Now, hopefully, it continues. And yeah.
Couple of comments on the medical staff and how they know our players, and we should trust them. And yeah, we should trust them. What they have done is insane. We got to, everybody accepts. If you look at how, just the physical preparedness of the team, Pedri obviously is the example that everybody's going to talk about. But I think, yeah, they know the players best. They know what they're capable of. So, and we don't. We are sitting here and opining. So obviously they know better, and we should trust them, and we do trust them. So no question on that. And for sure, I mean, I don't know about. And there's a lot of questions about Deco, whether he's good, bad, whatever, and
Yep.
everybody has their opinion and so on. But this is one thing that he absolutely did do good. He
Yep.
literally bringing these sets of trainers and what have you, just getting that completely overhauled, so as to say, um, has worked massively and tremendously well. And we all know, like the last two seasons, it was always, half our team was injured
Yeah.
all the time, right? And it was frustrating. But those days are in the past, and we should absolutely enjoy the fact. And just goes to show that when you have professional people doing professional things for which they're paid for, like good in it, that's what you get out of that.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Isaac Kuhn had a point. Jeffrey Torrent should be a long-term rotation left back. This is on the left back question and people have given a lot of names, Dom. So we'll go through some of them.
Yeah.
Um, Now, I haven't seen much of him. Yeah, a little bit here and there on Barca TV, but I don't know. Dom, do you know anything about him and whether he can be?
Yeah, he's a Balde light. He is. I saw it. I saw it, and he can do exactly what Balde does. When you're pressed by his position, he can just run through them, and he literally runs through them like Balde does. So remember that run from Balde against Osasuna, it was where he ran through the middle like 5 6 players. Joffre can do that. He does that. So he can receive the ball deep. He can just wiggle his way through tight spaces, and then he can progress the play this mark because when he carries the ball, everyone collapses on top of him, and then he releases the ball to a free player, and Barca score goals from that way. So I think the profile wise, he would he would absolutely fit, and he does seem like a very big talent, guys. I can't lie. That's what he would bring, and we just have to keep our
So, how many
faith
players,
there.
Dom, like this? Okay, if Joffrey is one, Tony Fernandez, everybody says, is another one.
Hmm.
Quim Junient is another one. Who are the next three or four from Athletic who are primed for first team?
That's an interesting question. So we prime for the first team is also. I'm not sure we should be bringing many more of those players just yet, just because we have such a massively young squad. But there are some names that we could talk about, and we could maybe actually do
Series.
a whole series where we actually look at which La Masia um, players can actually I'm not sure in the next couple of years maybe um there are some players that can be good right now, I would say, but I wouldn't bring them in just yet, right? I would really go and say like Quim is someone like who's very nice. Pedro, someone who's also very good. There are these players who have the quality, but just the timing is not right. um but I'm not sure. I'll have to think about more.
This is a good one. So Isaac, good one. We'll possibly think about this and come back with not just an answer to this, but also whether how many are there like this in Athletic, because Athletics having a pretty shitty season. Just to be entirely
Oh,
honest, because
it's
we
terrible.
rated them completely, and then they lost their coach, so they had a pretty bad season. But we need that. And that is the system of Barca. We need that B team to be there, to for good players to be there, uh, because that's just how the system works. And yeah, I would agree on how many of them you move into first team, because you already have a
Yeah,
very young team and you need some experience to balance that out. Now, if you
yeah,
like completely overload that, is that the right thing to do? Probably no. But maybe if he's really that good a talent, probably he will come through anyways.
yeah.
But will
I think
possibly,
they will.
yeah.
I think they will. I think with the, I think, yeah, Pedro definitely, Quim definitely. Tony, obviously Tony will be there. I'm not sure who else. There are a couple of names there, like Dani Rodriguez, Arnau Pradas. There are these names that are very good, and you could rank them in tiers potentially. But yeah, as you said, I think there needs to be a balance, and we need to be very careful and mindful of the timing of their rise to the first team. But we'll see. Yeah.
Yeah, Furman played an outstanding game, and so did Gavi. I think, yes, you're absolutely right. Both of them played a very nice game, and contributed at every stage for the score line to be what it is. They might not have scored, but Furman could have possibly got a couple of scores. He was just not, very targeted in his shooting. But beyond that, I think both of them played an incredible game, and this is going to be a challenge next season because let's assume Bernal and Casado come back, make their recoveries, and then they come back. And then you have Frankie, then you have Pedri, then you have Gavi, then you have even Ray Garcia, because sometimes he does play a pivot. So that's a lot of people in the midfield for a coach to manage, give minutes, and keep team harmony. So it's going to
Yeah.
be a tough one to manage next season. But for now, for sure. And we played an incredible goal. I just don't think we can keep so many of them because they're too good to sit on the bench. That's just what will happen. And sooner or later, a few are going to leave.
Yeah, I think departures are gonna be necessary. Even we'll see. I don't know. I don't know. It's tough to see this team breaking up because at the moment we have such a great
Harmony.
great collective that it's difficult to see anyone leave. But if new players are going to come in, especially big players, big names, I said that someone will have to leave, and then I don't know if we replace players with La Masia again. Maybe we do, maybe we don't. Is it the right thing to do? Even that's even a bigger question because Barca Athletic are also struggling. They are very much still in the red zone. So I think do we take even more players from them and then sacrifice the team as a whole, or do we just let them play for a little bit? Yeah, let them be for a little bit, and then see what we can do with the current team that we have. Yeah, there's more comments on La Masia guys actually. I'm not sure how to pronounce that guy's name. So John Virgili. Yeah, I did watch him. Good talent overall. He's very compact, very small, decent speed. Good control, good turning. He's a prototype La Masia kid, you would say, in some degree. But I don't know. Again, I wouldn't really say that any of them should immediately be brought up to the first team. That would be my conclusion at the moment.
Yeah, absolutely. I would agree, given the situation that we are on. Okay, let's go back to an interesting one. Dom, I know you have a reservation with Casado's physicality. Can he be the right back with the midfield clogged up next season? He definitely can play the defensive role, for sure. We've seen that. Can he become a right back? I don't know whether he has the pace for doing that. He definitely has a defensive awareness to be that. Um, but yeah, it's going to be clogged for sure, and all of them are not going to get to play. But Tom, what do you think? Is it possible for Cassidy to become a right back or makeshift right back or what have you?
I mean, he is a right back. To be fair to him, he was a right back for a big part of his pre first team time. He was a right back slash pivot at times for Barca Atletico, Barca B, as captain as well. So I think he has it in him now. The question then becomes, do you want such a profile to be a right back? Because we keep saying, okay, we need someone who's different than Kunde. We need someone who is more attacking than Kunde. But then Castro is not that. He's not going to be someone who's going to give you a drastically different profile to Kunde's. He's not a player who goes up and down the pitch a lot because of his physicality as well. He's not a wing back to overlap. He's not really a player to take on players out wide in one versus one scenarios. He is a deep distributor like Kunde, so he would be someone who would be a bit deeper in line with the defense and then put crosses in. He can be a wide presence and then put crosses into the box as well, but he's just not a guy who you want to have in isolations and in open space. And I think that's what people are mostly aiming at when they say we need someone to pair with Lamine, because Kunde can't do those things well. Casado can't either. So if he was going to play at right back, he would be more similar to Kunde than to a drastically different profile, I would say. They're not the same profiles, obviously, Kunde and Casero, but he would be closer to that than to someone drastically different and someone who's more of a wing back or more of an attacking fullback. So from that perspective, it can happen, but then he wouldn't give us something that we don't have, something unique.
I think to the point of Shrine God 27, I think there's, yeah, we have tried those makeshifts, and sometimes they
Yeah.
work, for sure, they do. Sometimes they do work. But if we do get a proper fullback, I do agree we should go for that. And because if Barca have to be a reference point and not wallow in obscurity or what we went through for the last 10 years, you need that level of professionalism and the right kind of players in the right positions. And for that, we do need two fullbacks. About that, I would
Hmm.
agree. But that does mean there'll be sacrifices because, I mean, these are also great players and they're not going to sit on the bench all the time. So some will leave. It's just what will happen. And we need to be mentally ready for that when that happens and so on. All right, let's keep going. Somebody talked about, yes, Xavi's system was too rigid. And want players to adapt to it. Fixed system is tailored to the strength of the players. That's why everyone is playing well. And this is something that we have also discussed a lot. Rigid versus tailored for people's uh, expression of freedom.
Yeah, creative.
But I mean, Flick is also quite rigid in his ways. He doesn't really change that much. We have seen that. And like today, I mean, Rafinha's position is working, so it's working. But
Yeah.
he has also taken pretty strong stances. Some of them have just worked out. Now, but this argument is there, and this point of view is there, and we ourselves have made it at times.
Yeah.
But was Xavi that bad and Flick that good? I don't know. I mean, it's there is such a nuanced answer, and there's a lot to go into it than making a blanket statement like that. But Tom, yeah, what's your thought?
Yeah, I think in some regard, yes, I would agree that he was a bit Richard Xavi because he had this idea of football, how football should be played, and he didn't really look at the squad and think, okay, can this team actually do what I have envisioned in my mind for them to do? And I think what ended up happening is that he was shoehorning players into different roles that maybe did not suit him as much. Whereas Flick is all about maximizing players. And between those two approaches, I think Flex approach is always going to be superior. That doesn't mean that Xavi is a bad coach. He has a great football mind, but I think that was one aspect that he had to change or adapt or tweak in his system, or he didn't. Now Flick is actually looking at his team and saying, okay, my team can play this. My team's weaknesses are this, and so I'm going to play it this way. And I think even the high line is an extension of that. Yes, it's inherently risky, but it's also a way to maybe minimize our flaws
Nice.
of our players because the high line does in fact shrink the pitch. Again, makes it better for counter pressing. We are better at counter pressing than high pressing all over the pitch. It also our starting center backs are not always the best duelers. So what he does, he uses the offside trap with a high line to actually remove the dueling portion out completely, right? Because if the offside stops the whole attack, there's no need for you to engage in duels. So in that sense, that even the high line is there to play to our players' strengths in a sense, right? It's risky. It absolutely is risky, and it can cost us still, despite our great form and great coordination and chemistry that we have. It can still cost us because it is risky inherently, but at the same time it is making things possible for us, making the our tactics, our structures, and our preferred game states possible in the first place. So I think everything that Fleet does, and that's one of the best things about him, is everything that he does has it has a reason, right? There's a reason behind it, and that's why it's working, and hopefully it keeps on working.
Hopefully.
For yeah.
Wednesday will be spicy. Oh, yes, Wednesday is going to be spicy with or without Rafinha. But yes, after what we saw against Brazil and Rafinha and everything, there are a lot of clips on social media going around. I think yes, he will have a point to prove because he's just that kind of a player. Rafinha is the kind of player who likes to prove a point, and he will be rested, and he did need some rest. But that said, I think either ways it's going to be a spicy game, and either
Yeah.
way it's going to be a difficult game. I don't think this is done and dusted in any way, and we haven't found it easy against Atleti this season at all. Even though we have played them off the park a couple of
Yeah.
times, we haven't been able to score goals. We haven't been able to finish. So I don't think it's done and dusted. It's going to this one's going to can go down to the wire in terms of the results and our plays, and we'll need a sharp Rafinha for sure in that game. And if there are sparks in the game, then there are sparks in the game. It's just what it is. It's part of the fun of that. So yeah, Vanley, we'll be looking forward to that as well and discussing that with you once the game is end. Okay, there are a few more pointers that we have.
Yeah, yeah.
There is a
Let's do.
question on talent ID. Xavi still was no surprise. We're never going to play like half-like plays. Xavi's talent ID is excellent. Most of his players are his players. Yeah, I think there's value in that. How they're used is different, but the nucleus is mostly yes. He's the one who really picked them up from here and there and said, okay, this is my team and this is what I'm going to play with. So probably yes, his talent ID is amazing. And when you add that talent ID with man, Fick is 56. He has done far more coaching than Xavi has. So when Xavi does his 10 years of coaching with his level of talent ID, he's going to be a phenomenal coach. That's what I believe it is going to be. This was his first gig in a very large club under immense political pressure at a time when the club didn't have any money or anything, and he came like it was hard. It was hard
Yeah,
to survive, but even with that, he won. He won the league. I think he did phenomenal. He gave hope. He gave us a chance, and I think the first season, that first half season, was incredible fun. Like I enjoyed that season. If we
yeah,
didn't win anything, so I mean, kudos to Xavi for what he has done, and it doesn't take away anything from his ability and his passion and skill and the legacy that he has left behind. That will stay, and I think he'll be an incredible coach, and he's going to win. He's going to win a lot of silverware in time as he learns from this experience and becomes better over time. So for sure, his talent ID is insane. Um, okay, let's take a couple of more. What do you guys prefer, Salah or Virgil here on a free? New proposal popped up, which would shake up the squad landscape. Probably no, because again, the squad harmony will just go for a toss. It's a very young team. I think Flick likes working with young kids who will do what he asks him to do rather than working with very established stars who will question him or what have you, which has happened in the German national team. And I think also happened in Bayern with established players. There are problems with him and the players. With young people who are hungry to prove themselves, it's easier to manage them, coach them, tell them, guide them. And Flick is kind of a person like that. I mean, he wants things done his way. There's no question on that. So I think, yeah, like the names are outstanding, Salah and Virgil. Who wouldn't want them? But then if they come in, then there are players who are going out, and then the system again changes, and then you have to adjust to the systems and so on and so forth. So if you ask me, no. But Dom, what do you think?
I think that's the last thing you said. That's exactly it. So if either of them comes in, so who goes out? Because you're not signing Van Dijk without someone leaving. So
Okay.
is Araujo leaving? Because then Van Dijk gives you that physical presence. Although he is, slowly getting a bit older, slowly maybe be not being phased out, but maybe physically he's a bit in the latter stages of his football career. So that needs to be considered. So who goes out? Is it Araujo who gets sold if Virgil comes in? Is it Inigo that we've been? But then if we lose out Inigo, we're not really replacing him with someone who fits that system like a glove and provides that left-sided progression that Inigo gives you next to Kubarsi. So it's all about finding a partner for Kubarsi, and I think the perfect partner for Kubarsi will be someone who's a bit more athletic, someone who's a bit more physical, but also good on the ball. And Virgil is that kind of a player, right? He really is tremendous. Now, I don't know in what state he would come in. The same with Salah. Salah has been a bit frustrating this season. If you ask Liverpool players, not players, fans, they will tell you that he scores a bunch of goals and a bunch of penalties as well. That needs to be said. But then he does have stinkers of games, right? He does have games where he's nowhere to be seen. I'm not trying to say he's bad. He's absolutely brilliant, Salah. Obviously, he is, and there's a reason why he scores so many goals. But at the same time, he doesn't generate as much football as someone like Lamine, for example, does. If he comes in, what role does he play? Is he fine being a rotational player? Someone of his caliber, would he be that? If not, who does he replace? I mean, where does he play? Do we have to swap Lamine to a different position and then play Salah as a right winger, or what do we do? It's a very complex question that we can't really answer just now. But as rotational pieces, I mean, how expensive would they be? Oh, there's so many questions.
All right.
But yeah,
Okay. Now let's quickly go through the game because we've been just answering questions and talking, which is great, which is where we come from. So no harm. But this is the game, and you can see it's just like just like 90 minutes of domination from Barcelona against Girona, and that's actually nice, guys, because in the last 3 years, I don't think we've seen this. It was very commonplace earlier, but it hasn't been so. So just to see this, it's nice. For SofaScore, score, Lamine was the man of the match for La Liga. It was Lewandowski. It doesn't really matter. But look at the scores here. I think Gerard Martin played very good. Gavi, Pedri, Garcia, Kunde, Araujo. They all had a solid game. And it showed up on the pitch. I didn't expect this lineup, to be entirely honest, when the game started.
Yeah.
So I didn't really think that they could put this lineup out, but he did, and it performed quite well, I would say. So obviously he knows a couple of things that we don't from that perspective. Again, if you look into statistics, we saw it, so we know what was here. So again, ball possession, like Barca really dominated the expected goal. I think we again overperformed our XG because of the two goals from Lewandowski. The percentage chances of them converting were very low, but they did. So on 2.63, we scored 4, and they have done it throughout the season, which is why we have 4 goals or more 20 times in this season, because we have wildly overperformed our XG massively. So from that perspective, goalkeeper saves. I think they had a lot of good saves. Otherwise, we would this scoreline would look even worse.
Yeah.
To be very honest, I was lucky for them that they didn't, and this will give you an idea of the onslaught that went on throughout those 90 minutes from that perspective. Um, Here you can understand the concentration of play and the field tilt and what have you. Again, everything widely favoring Barca in terms of how they played, the number of big chances they had, number of scores, and so on. And again, here it'll give you an idea. I think Chesney basically had he just chilled throughout the game. I don't think he had anything to save, literally. So yeah, I mean, any thoughts, Tom, on seeing all this, all the data?
It just brings me a lot of joy because the data does confirm what the eye test says as well. It was a very one sided game despite their goal, and that's despite us struggling to score in the first half, and then they're equalizing almost immediately in the second half. Yeah, despite all of that, it was a very one sided performance. There was only one team on the pitch for most of the game. In the second half, they get scrappy for a bit because we kind of, we with a foot of the gas. That happens because um, we do create these scenarios and we are strolling actually through the game. We're actually winning by 2, 3, 4 goals, and then we just let you have a little bit more joy than you did before that. But I think the data just tells you exactly what happened on the pitch, which is it was a
And this is the
domination.
new thing about Barca. I mean, I think look at the stats. Tackles won 70%, and recovery is about 49.
Mhm.
And if you see the people who are doing it, I think the people who contribute a lot to this, I think, are Pedri, Lamine, Rafinha when he's playing. So the amount of recoveries that this team does consistently, I think these are some of the highest numbers that I've seen from a Barca team in the longest time. And while they don't do tactical fouling too much, but the press, like the moment they lose the ball, there are 3 people on the ball immediately. They're trying to win it back. They're hassling you. They're harrying you, and they're winning tackles. They're winning tactical tackles in the middle of the pitch, and then the counter is on or the transition is on, and that is something that Barca has improved massively. In this season over the last, I don't know, maybe 5 to 7 more than that, and that is purely an outcome of how Flick has been coaching the team. Dom, any thoughts on how you see it when you see the game, unfold in real time?
Yeah, I think the players that you mentioned are very key, and at this point we're expecting Pedri and Rafinha to be doing those, putting in those defensive shifts, but many don't see that Lamine is also defending. He actually is, because he does get a bit more leisure. He gets more freedom, or the freedom not to participate all the times, but he's actually a very willing defender, which is a great thing to have, especially for a young player who's already a superstar, who's already uh, getting the treatment that he is a superstar and that he is actually allowed to walk on the pitch a bit more, which he does. But it's all well timed, right? He doesn't walk all the time. He doesn't walk when the team needs him to run. When the team needs him to run, he will run. The same with defending. When the team really needs him to defend, he will be there. And this team is geared. The high press, even the counter press, the high line, all of that. I think all of that plays a part in how we actually defend and how these stats come to be, right? I think that's again, it confirms what we see in the pitch. So no
Yeah,
much
I
else.
mean, we like there was you saw it, so we don't want to belabor the point. And obviously, we've been going for a while. So,
Yeah.
great win, super happy. Another 4-1, another 4 goals in the bag. Good position in the points table. And this is a series of games that is challenging, because if it doesn't go our way, our season can end up in a very different way. And if it does go our way, our season can end up in a completely different manner. So it's important that we celebrate every win that comes our way. The next one is, and we'll have Betis, and we will have um, Atleti, and we'll have Borussia, who are coming up, and none of them are going to be easy, but we'll be there, guys, for covering these games. So do join us, and that'll be great. It'll be like this, and I think today's been what, like 3,300 of you. Thank you, guys. That's insane. That you guys have all joined in. I hope you enjoyed it and you felt entertained, because that's what this is entertainment more than anything else. Honestly, we are not like, yeah, it's just fun. So hopefully you guys had fun, because we had a lot of fun talking, looking at your points of view or taking questions or what have you. Not that we have always the right answers or
Yeah.
have the answers. We're just like you, two ordinary fans. So thank you for joining, guys. That's insane. Dominic, thoughts before we sign off?
Yeah, as always, guys, please. I mean, we're so happy to see so many of you supporting us, enjoying these conversations, posting questions, comments, critiques, opinions, all of that. And for over 3,000 of you to be here for more than an hour and just look at two guys, just two talking heads, trying to sound smart and educational, but also entertaining. It's quite a feat for us. It does warm our hearts. It would also warm our hearts a bit more if you would subscribe maybe to some of our content. Dev, if you can slap the blog link maybe in the comments, guys. Click, see if you like it. There's a lot of pieces there. Scouting on the latest Barca targets. The number nines are all there. There's some French players analyzed in the on the blog as well. It is all mostly free from members. All you have to do is just type in your email and that's it. There's no payment. Of course, we do have a paid tier, but that's all completely up to you if you want to spend money. If you don't, there are two free tiers that you can actually access most of our content. Most of our content is still free, and all of our content on YouTube is free, and on social medias are free, on X, on Instagram, on TikTok, everywhere it's free. And we are trying to give you a lot of content every single day, almost, I would say that. But it, again, up to you, but it would mean a lot to us if a couple of you subscribe through the live stream. Click the link, subscribe, help us out, support our work, because we are putting in the work, and we do appreciate you coming here and talking to us, and just being fans. Thank you guys for that.
Absolutely, guys. Thank you so much. It is insane that all of you are here, and it's insane just talking to you guys. So we'll be back for the Athletic game, and for Betis, and for Borussia, and for the rest of the games of the season as well. So thank you for joining. It was fun, and yeah, just feels good. It's As a Barca fan, we have not felt like this for many years, so I absolutely am enjoying this season every single match
Yeah,
day. So with that, take care, stay safe, guys, and until the next time, Vizca Barca, and see you on the next one.
just Barca.
Bye.